Every tutorial that tells you to build an app in a weekend is lying to you. And it's lying by leaving stuff out. They show you the fun part, the screens, the AI feature, but that's not even scratching the surface of everything you need to do. They skip the auth, they skip the database, they skip the hosting and deployment headaches, and the part where you're managing 6 different API keys at midnight, wondering why your bill is $400. That's the part that actually eats your weekend. So I decided to delete it, not for one app, but permanently. I spent a month building my own full service backend, and now when I want to ship something, idea to live takes just about 3 hours. This app right here took me about 1 afternoon. And the reason it took 3 hours instead of 3 days is that I'd already done the boring 90% once. So I never have to do it again. But I'll be honest with you, there was a piece of this app the backend couldn't save me from. One problem that took longer than everything else combined. We'll get there. If you're new here, I'm Aditya, and this channel is about shipping real AI apps stupidly fast and showing you exactly how. Not toy demos, things that are actually live, that handle real data that I'd put my own money behind. Today is the first one. This is Looker, and its job is simple. It shows you a full breakdown of what a mutual fund holds in very simple terms. If you've got money in any mutual fund or SIP, answer me this. What does your fund actually hold right now? Not the returns, the real holdings. How much is sitting in cash? How much is concentrated in the top few stocks? How much has it quietly drifted since last month? You probably have no idea, and I didn't either. And here's the part that made me a little crazy. That data is actually legally public. SEBI mandates that every single fund house publish its full portfolio every month. It exists, but there is basically no way for a normal person to actually see it in a form that makes any sense. So I wanted to build a thing that just shows you. You pick your fund and it tells you what's inside. Looks simple, right? I thought so too. Turns out the show you part was easy. Everything underneath it is where it got interesting. But before diving into anything, let me explain why this took 3 hours and not 3 days, because this is the actual point of this channel. The backend is a separate project. I call it Terminal AI. It's a gateway that sits underneath every app I build, and it handles all the stuff that wastes time. I spent a month building it once, and now every new app just plugs into it. Set and forget. So when I sit down to build something like this mutual fund analyzer, I'm not thinking about any of the plumbing. I'm only thinking about the one hard problem that's actually specific to this app. And let me be specific about what that plumbing actually costs you, because this is where the comparisons matter. Take hosting. Vercel's fine, I like Vercel, but the second you go past 2 apps, you're on the $20 a month plan. And then it scales from there. My backend runs a bare server that costs me about $10 a month. And that one server can handle over 100 apps. So the math just completely flips. One app on Vercel versus 100 apps for half the price. Then there's the auth and the database. The default answer everyone will give you is Supabase. And look, Supabase is powerful, but getting it set up properly and actually secure is a headache I did not want to relive on every single project. The row level security alone is where people get wrecked. I'll make a full video on that later, so stay tuned. So I built my own auth into the backend. Every app I ship just inherits it. But the biggest reason I built this whole thing was the AI keys. If you ever built an AI app, you know this pain. You want OpenAI for one thing, Anthropic for another, maybe Gemini or Grok because they're faster or cheaper for some tasks. Every single one wants its own account, its own credit card, its own usage you have to babysit so you don't wake up to a surprise bill. It is genuinely insane to manage. So I rolled all of it into one multi-provider gateway. One place, I call whatever model I want through it. It handles the routing, it handles the metering, and I never touch a provider dashboard again. Okay, so the boring 90% was already handled, which brings us to the 10% that actually hurt. The concept of the app was simple. Get the disclosures from the fund houses, analyze the PDF and put it in an easy to digest dashboard with an insightful AI overview. And that's where everything took a bit of a pause. The public data of the fund houses is in reality extremely hard to source. There is no central feed for this, no single place you can hit and get every fund's holdings. Instead, there are something like 40 plus fund houses, and every single one publishes its portfolio differently. Some give you a cleanish spreadsheet, some, and I'm not kidding, ship it as a zip file you have to download, unzip, and dig through with the actual file name, some random name you can't even predict the link of. Every fund house was its own little boss fight. For the spreadsheet ones, I could pass them directly and pull the holdings out cleanly. That part was manageable. The PDFs are where it fell apart. I tried the off-the-shelf parsing options and they just weren't good enough on these documents. The layouts were too messy, the tables didn't line up, and half of them looked like they were exported in 2009. So I built document parsing into the backend itself. The PDF goes through OCR and then gets structured by AI into one clean, consistent format. The same shape no matter which of the 40 fund houses it came from. One contract, everything downstream speaks that one language. And then I hit this messy part I'm actually glad I caught. Some of these fact sheets don't disclose everything. A bunch of them only publish their top 10 holdings, and the top 10 might be about 46% of the fund. So if I just added those up and shown it as the full picture, I'd be lying to the user. The app would look complete and be completely wrong. So I had to build it to know when it's seeing only part of the fund, say so honestly, and lean on the fund-wide numbers instead of pretending the rest doesn't exist. Which brings me to the part I'm most proud of and the part that took the longest to get right. This app is ultimately about money. And the one thing you absolutely cannot do with money is show someone a number that's made up. An AI that confidently hallucinates a percentage on a finance tool is worse than no tool at all. So I made a rule and I enforced it in the code itself. The AI is not allowed to do math at all. It cannot add up a single percentage, it cannot compute a single number. Every number in this app is calculated in plain simple code, no models, no nothing. The cash percentage, the concentration, the sector tilt, all of it is calculated, not generated. The AI's only job is to describe what the real numbers already say in plain English. It never computes and it never tells you what to buy. It's a lens, not an advisor. That's the piece the backend couldn't hand me for free. The plumbing was done in minutes. This part took the afternoon. And honestly, that's the right ratio. The boring stuff should be instant, and your whole brain should go to the one thing that actually has to be correct. So this is where it all lands. A normal person could not assemble this by hand. You would be hunting down the right month's file from the right fund house, fighting a PDF, doing the math yourself, and probably getting it wrong. Now it's one click, the numbers are real because the AI was never allowed to touch them. It's live right now and it's free to start. If you've got money in mutual funds, the link's in the description. Go actually look inside the funds you already own. I think you will be surprised by at least one of them. This is V1 and all I cared about right now was building a secure working app that does not mislead its users. And I think I have more or less succeeded in doing that. But the real long-term value is my backend that I can just plug into for almost any project I build. I will be breaking it down in upcoming videos, so stay tuned. So that's the channel. I ship real apps fast because I did the boring part once, and I'm going to show you every build, the dead ends included. If that's the kind of thing you want to watch, subscribe so you can catch the next one. Thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next build.